Do you even remember Nokia? At one point, Nokia had almost 40% of the global phone market until about 2007. I mean, that's insane. Maybe today it feels less amazing when we look at Google owning 90% of the global web search or NVIDIA with more than 70% of our AI infrastructure. But back then, Nokia had global distribution, strong carrier relationships, brand recognition. They had pretty much everything that they needed going for them. Competition existed: Motorola, Samsung, LG, and the ubiquitous BlackBerry for corporations. But Nokia got disrupted by an entirely different product, one that was initially dismissed: the iPhone. And it wasn't only the iPhone that tanked Nokia, it wasn't even the financial crisis of 2008. So, what killed Nokia? Welcome to this four-part series on curiosity, a human intelligence skill that you can and should hone right now in order to become unmachined, a differentiated leader with skills that no algorithm can replicate. In our mini but mighty leadership lessons, we publish an episode every week to help you level up personally and professionally. So, the iPhone. It definitely brought about a new computing model that changed what customers expected from a phone. But initially, people didn't have high expectations for a phone that didn't even have a keyboard. It's like today we see traditional search engines like Google kind of losing steam as we all begin to adopt AI assistants for pretty much all of our inquiries. But that's changed over time, just like what happened to Nokia. Yes, there was absolutely big market competition and change. But before that reality could take hold, the company had time to adjust, but they didn't. And that's crazy because we're talking about a massive company with a building full of really smart people. And those people stopped asking questions, stopped challenging the status quo, and lived in a culture that didn't share data to contradict or challenge the strategic direction set by the top of the company. And if that sounds like where you work or someplace you have worked, then this lesson is for you. This quote by Christian Sandstrom is really fun and provocative. He says, the company clearly overslept, and top management didn't recognize the urgency of the situation. Their slides, their company slides, don't communicate any major issues until suddenly it's stated in Q2 of 2009 that the mobile industry is undergoing rapid technological change. I'll put a link to Christian's blog for those of you who are curiosity nerds like me and want to read more about this and see what those slides used to look like back in the mid 2000s. So we won't be overly simplistic. We know there's more than one contributing factor going on here. Nokia had 40% of the global phone market in 2007. Their engineers knew the iPhone was a threat. Their middle managers knew that their operating system was falling behind. Upper management put together a strategy that was focused in an entirely different direction. And the culture of the company made asking questions feel dangerous. Middle managers were scared to tell the truth or felt limited in that. One manager is documented as saying that you could be in a meeting and know that the information in the meeting, a particular deadline, was impossible, but you did not feel comfortable saying that because speaking up was a challenge to senior leadership and often would result in outcomes that you didn't want. So even though there was time to respond and to react, the company that had every resource and talent and every data point it needed to adapt couldn't. By 2013, Microsoft had acquired Nokia. Harvard Business School surveyed more than 3,000 employees across industries and reported that only 24% reported feeling curious in their jobs on a regular basis. 70% said they face barriers to asking questions at work. 70%. That means that the majority of your team right now is not asking you questions. They have questions that they're not bringing up. In our Helm Leadership Essentials program, one of the habits that we examine closely for leaders is, what do you hear regularly? Is it the daily routine of work and that's it? I bet many of you also hear problems, but what else? Do you hear potential and opportunities? Do you hear about the daily life of the people that you work with? Noticing what types of communication reach you is a critical signal to help you understand if there is trust, curiosity, and open exploration in your team. Because when there isn't curiosity, that's the part that should really start to bother you. Harvard Business School found that a lot of managers and leaders believe that curious people actually slow things down, that they limit progress. And so, intentionally or not, they shut down curiosity. They actually make barriers and prevent people from feeling comfortable asking questions. The research, however, shows that curious teams make fewer errors. They surface problems sooner. They adapt faster. So instead of being the manager who says, hey, we know what we're doing, let's just go after it, you might also want to build in time to challenge the assumptions, to look for new opportunities, to allow people to ask questions and get curious in order to avoid creating conditions that may lead to an upcoming miss. Curiosity is a practice. And like any practice, it lives in the behaviors that you choose and enable. I'll apply it to our Helm Method framework. It maps to what you do every day. In the framework, we say set your intention, aim. So curiosity starts before you open your mouth. It starts in thinking through how you want to intentionally act and lead that day. If you're an individual contributor, what questions do you have about your work and the work that you're doing as a team? What question might you ask at an upcoming meeting to help yourself and the rest of the team think differently or explore different options? As a leader of teams, think not only about what information you need to communicate, but about what you may not know or what perspectives and positions you might need to help others surface so that you can all learn more and explore more together. Act. Take this forward. Don't just think about it, but act. Ask more questions. Listen to people. Create opportunities where people can ask questions, challenge assumptions, and raise new ideas. You might ask questions like, what are we assuming? What do we not know? What might we be missing? Is there a different way that we should be thinking about this? And adjust. As you go through and try these things, you'll see approaches that work, questions that are more helpful than not, and you start adjusting that in context. And also, all of us can be more aware that we don't have to have all the answers. When we model curiosity, it includes, hey, I don't know the answer, or I have an idea or an answer in mind, but I'd like to explore if there are other perspectives that might influence how I think about something, how I approach a certain part of work, how I engage with others. That curiosity and willingness to admit that you don't have all the answers gives everyone around you permission to do the same and to get curious. Unmachined leaders don't have all the answers, but they are willing to explore, to get curious, and to ask questions and to create an environment where it's okay for others to ask questions. So, a couple things to practice this week. Think about something you don't know the answer to and go ask that question. Learn a little bit more about it. Whether you're in a meeting or individual conversations, consider asking the question, what's something that you know that I might not know? And see where that takes you. Explore it. Get curious about the topics and ideas that people raise. And if you feel like you and your team do a really good job with curiosity, take a moment to have the team rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. How often do they feel that they are genuinely encouraged to be curious and to think outside the box, to challenge status quo? That number could be very revealing. So if you watch this and you're thinking, we already do this, or I already do this, then I invite you to tune in for the next 3 episodes on curiosity and see if you can take this even further. If you watched this and thought the opposite, wow, I really need to up my curiosity game, I'm not sure where to start, then I invite you to try some of the practices that I just mentioned. Ask questions and invite others to do the same. And then also watch the upcoming episodes as you'll continue to learn more and build your curiosity skills. And if you happen to be watching this as an HR or executive leader and you're wondering how to bring this to a full company of managers, then you should know that we covered this and much more in our Helm Leadership Essentials program. Curiosity, psychological safety, questions that unlock and align teams. You reach out and connect on the Boss at the Helm website. Join us here next Friday. We're going to continue talking about curiosity and look at it as an element of civility, as well as how to hold and consider different perspectives. Start with yourself, and then lead others. Be a boss. By the way, now is a great time to tap like and subscribe to this channel. Set your notifications so that you're reminded every week when a new episode comes out. We'll see you next Friday.